to sort of bring it back to Halloween 2, I do think that some of what Rob does here, it sort of reminds me a little bit of Marcus Nispel's TCM 03, like a little bit of that, like, shaking the camera when like the impact happens, just that grit that it has. And, one thing that Nick, I think it was, it might have been Lee that brought it up, where it's, Rob Zombie is just sort of like, I don't give a fuck. And I think this movie is really punk rock. Yeah, and when I say punk rock, I mean it as a way of life and a concept, not necessarily the music, although that's represented as well. And I think that's really cool. Laurie's got the Black Flag shirt. Bad Brains is in the soundtrack. There's a Circle Jerks record. There's all sorts of punk stuff all over the record store, of course. Frank Zappa on the toilet. That poster's amazing. Yeah. But there's this whole sort of punk rock approach to the film where it's kind of like, this is going to be sort of the antithesis of what you think it would be. Rob Zombie had to make his remake and he was put in a box, and then he finally gets to stretch, and it's sort of like the same things that I like about, like, I'm a huge punk rock music fan. Like, I like the rough edges. I like the fact that it's not like, that maybe I have to meet him halfway as an audience member, but also I think that, like, sometimes, like, I talk about it all the time on my channel, like, we need to be smarter as an audience, and we need to be more like critical as an audience, because the only way we're going to get better art is a smarter audience begets better art. So we need to hold those people accountable, support the people that do things well, and also, like, be not just intelligent enough, but be willing enough to, like, go on that journey with the artist and appreciate what they do. And I think here, as a guy that's not the hugest fan of, like, Rob Zombie's entire body of work, and not really that much of a fan of his music, although I think it's really interesting to do like metal dance music, which is what he ended up doing when he went solo. He's a dude where I'm like, man, I could kick it with this guy. We would listen to the same shit. Like, we would love the same stuff. And I think that's like, it's a brother from another mother, even if I don't love everything that he's got. Like, I love what I love of his works so well for me.
Rob Zombie is probably he's one of the hardest working directors, musicians. Like, that guy's always, that's why he has no kids, because he's got no time for kids. He's got his hands in everything. I know.
Yeah.
But, Davey, you made me think.
Is he more human than a human?
I think he is. Have you guys seen that meme where it's like, I could watch Hereditary, or I could watch Nosferatu. Fuck it. Let's watch Sleepaway Camp 3 again. Yeah. I love that meme.
Yep.
But let's talk about Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Let's circle it back, okay? Because Myers is really interesting in this movie. Visually, the way he acts. Also, if you want to tie it in with all the trauma and everything, and you got the freaking Rorschach with the what is the deal with the white horse? What is the relationship with the white horse and Myers? Nick, I'll let you take this one. Go ahead.
So I get the white horse. Okay. No.
Sorry.
So it's funny, because one of the best moments of our podcast we've ever done is when Christian and we did an episode on Halloween 2, and we mentioned the white horse, and I have it clipped on my phone forever of Christian freaking out. And he's like, he explains it in the first fucking scene of the movie. It's on the fucking screen. Like, he's freaking out because he hates when people complain about it. The white horse, to me, and I think it's spelled out pretty well. So it's just like, it's so stupid.
Just tell us what it is.
It is just a physical. It's a symbol. It is essentially, when you see the white horse, you are not only do you know you're looking from Michael's perspective, but it's a sign of his psychosis. We're in the mind of somebody that doesn't think like we do. That doesn't see the world like we do, that doesn't have the same goals as we do. And also, yes, about the linked family trauma, because the whole idea of the movie is to bring the family back together again. See, that's one thing that in the original series, although we had the familial connections, we never really dove into that head on and go, but why? Why is he after the family?
Mhm.
Halloween 6, it was because it was a curse that he had to do it. He had to, wipe out his bloodline. But in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, it is solely just he wants to bring them together again. Mom's gone.
Mhm.
Young me
Yeah.
is dead too. Michael Myers doesn't view himself as Michael Myers anymore. That's why he views himself as a child. That's when Michael Myers died. What you are now seeing is the shape. And he wants to bring his sister, into the further, whatever you want to call it, like kill her so they can all be together again. It's all about bringing that family back together. And
Liana's response that floored me.
Hey, I'd buy it.
Can we
I'd buy it.
horse?
Yeah. I put it in my family room.
How much is in the budget?
Yeah. My wife would look really good next to a horse. Can we get a horse?
I got her this dress, and I think if we could just get a white horse next to her, I think that would really send it home.
Yeah.
But I mean, Rob can at times be very on the nose with his symbolism, like he really can. And this is one of those times where it's like, remember what this white horse means. Every time we're showing it to you, it means something. It's drawing this connection. But I think it's necessary. So that's. And I'll tell you the truth, man. I got that, I think, from my first viewing. I don't know how you guys felt, but like I wasn't confused by it. Like I was like, okay, I read the excerpt at the beginning, and if you're following the story well enough and the themes that the movie is playing with, although as time goes on, you get a better understanding of it. But I didn't walk out of the theater the first time and go, "What the hell was that about?" Like
it's the Martha of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's like in the original film, like Michael, there's something that's driving Michael that's making him, do the things he's doing in the first film. He sees the girls, he's interested, he watches each one of them, he waits for the perfect time to strike. There's something guiding him the whole time, and we never know what it is. And so I think what Rob's doing in this film is he's trying to say, like, you know what, the white horse is just the thing that's driving Michael. It's what's driving the situation. Scott had said up there that it was a MacGuffin, and it doesn't mean anything, but really in a sense, maybe it means nothing, but maybe it means everything because it's what's guiding him. And what's really cool is I'm seeing everyone in the chat's got their own ideas. So maybe
I love that.
Maybe the Rorschach is this next level thing where like literally the white horse is a Rorschach. What do you see in the white horse?
And that's why they had like the Rorschach scene in the movie with Laurie,
and you assign that to Michael, right? It's like, what is the white horse to you? And that another thing, just like anything with art or with poetry, it's like, what do you get out of the art? Because once the artist puts it out there, it's all of ours. It's not just theirs. So it's like what you take from it means something too.
And I think that scene with the therapist was when she said she sees a horse. That was clearly Rob Zombie trying to tell the audience of this link between Laurie and Michael. Like that was clearly what that was. So, and I do hate, I've seen some comments in the chat, like, and I know they like to give this movie a hard time, but like one thing I don't think we should ever do, if we don't like a director or a writer or whatever it may be, we got to give them their flowers every now and then. This was not put in the movie just to do it. He's saying something with it. And the fact that it created such a discussion and people have their own view of it, I think was the point entirely. It wasn't like, let's just put this here and whatever. No, there was a reason for it. And it's one of the things, there are two things you always hear about when people talk about this movie. And it is especially when they hate it, stupid white horse and his ghost mom or Hobo Myers. Those things create conversation for a reason. They were there for a reason. So,
And I think he's trying to reinvent Michael. One of the things he said in the commentary is he's like, that Michael's no longer the shape. He's no longer like the ghost figure, the boogeyman from the first movie. Like, we're just dealing with him in a different way. And like, honestly, like, I love when creatives take big swings. Like, I'd rather you take a big swing and fall on your face, and I'll give you credit for the ambition. And I think that's another part of the punk rocker in me. With a movie like this guy over my shoulder, like the ambition, like makes it something that I love so much because I just think it's like gutsy, man. I mean, he made this. Halloween 2 could have been a by the numbers thing. He could have had nothing to do with it. Like, that was the original plan anyways. So I'm thankful, like all things considered, like I'm so happy that Rob Zombie came back. I think that this film and like his interpretation of Michael it's some of the most interesting work within the whole franchise.
you can't have a deep discussion about Halloween Resurrection. You can't like break open what the character that got impaled by the fence. You can't take it any farther than that. Where Rob Zombie's Halloween, you could literally take Halloween 2, sorry. You could literally take just about every sequence in the movie and you take a peek over in this corner and over in this corner and just break it apart, And I would wager that Rob Zombie's probably well read because he's a musician, because he's a director, and musicians, I think they like to read because it just gives them ideas. And like what Beth's saying there, in the Bible, Christ rides a white horse out of heaven at the head of the armies of heaven to judge and make war upon the earth. And I wouldn't doubt it if Rob Zombie probably took a little inspiration from the Bible. I mean, directors do it all the time, but I love all the symbolism that is in this movie. The mother and the son, the young version of Myers kind of following Laurie along the way, what is it that she says to him? Now let's go have some fun or something like that.
Yeah.
When he's about to have a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Just some really dark symbolism in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you can tell, I think some of the best creative people are just really good audience members and students of it, like you have to have a love for it. You have to pay attention to the finer details. So I think that, yeah, he takes inspiration from all over the place, music, movies. And I think that's one of the fun things about a film like this is it all sort of comes together. Like for me, it works. And especially like that punk rock approach and everything. I don't know. To me, it's like a nuclear reaction, this film, it's just like something that's just like boiling and about to just like boil right on over. And it's not really comfort food for, comfort cinema. And I guess that's why I like the director's cut.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be as uncomfortable as possible.
Best.
Yeah.
But Halloween does have comfort cinema in it. And this is I think this is the more artsy Halloween film. And so, of course, like this is the movie that I walked out of and I was like, oh, shit. People are not going to like this movie. I didn't walk out of Halloween Ends saying that. I walked out of this movie knowing that. What's up, guys? You are at the end of the DD Live clip. What I do is I like to clip these out if I think the topic is important or something that's newsworthy. So thank you for watching. And if you want to watch more, you can go over here. You can go over here, click on one of those. And hopefully I can do this for 20 seconds, which I think I did. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching, guys.